Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
What makes Star Trek a transmedia franchise? According to Henry Jenkins, author of The Convergence Culture, transmedia storytelling is the art of world making. Essentially, it is the telling of a story across different media platforms. The success of the narration depends on the story's ability to be conveyed through each platform without causing confusion and managing to keep the attention and participation of its audience. In other words, the goal is to have multiple platforms successfully carry one story. Star Trek is a story that has been shared for decades and has still managed to keep a very high success rate. The original story began as a television series written by Gene Roddenberry. The first pilot of the show took place in 1964. It ran for 3 seasons on the NBC station and was then canceled by the network in 1969, sparking vast popularity of the show among television audience viewers. In 1972, the first Star Trek convention was held. Throughout the rest of the 60s and 70s, the story was being carried out through novels, comics, and board games. The continued success of the story was not all produced by the hands of Roddenberry, but by the hands of many other authors and contributors, including Paramount, some of the actors from the show, and Marvel being one of the more well-known names that helped push the story forward into the comic world. The successful draw-in of more fans amped the revival of the show. But instead of the live-action television series, it was brought back to life through an animated series in 1973 on the same television network, NBC, with the original cast as the voices. From the original series to the animated series, Star Trek lived on, with the help of television reruns and especially through its fan base. The success of the Star Wars film, among other sci-fi films, seemed to have motivated Roddenberry to bring the Star Trek television series back again, but instead Roddenberry brought the show to the big screen. With the help of Paramount, Star Trek the Motion Picture was up and running in 1979. Television and film were the most influential forms of technology for the success of this franchise in its beginning and in its multiple rebirths. The television series ran for 18 years straight with a total of 6 complete series, which includes the 4 revamped shows that followed the 2 original shows: The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and The Enterprise. The entire television running of Star Trek ended in 2005. At the same time, the movie franchise brought in an incredible attraction and new admiration for Star Trek as well. Altogether, there have been 12 Star Trek films. This back-and-forth nature of the show in large part was due to the creative differences between Roddenberry and Paramount, the production company. They based the progress of this great show off of critic and fan reactions. It was a trial-and-error trek-a-thon between the television series and the beginning of the movie franchise. Both are the major points of entry that Jenkins mentions in reference to the story being told across various media platforms. But due to the extra hands that played a part in this narration's success, it still lived on. In Convergence Culture, Jenkins discusses the important relationship between participation and interaction when it comes to the success of transmedia storytelling. Interaction is limited by technology, and participation is shaped by the culture and the society. Fan fiction has been a popular source of involvement for the Trek community. In 1997, Trekkies came into the spotlight. It was a documentary about the dedicated Star Trek fan communities. In 1998, a Star Trek-themed attraction, Star Trek: The Experience, was built and ran until 2008 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Star Trek Phase 2 is a fan-based series that takes place online. It was soon acknowledged and then produced by CBS and Paramount because it was non-profiting. James Cawley, the executive producer and originator of the fan-based series, is still successfully upholding the web series since its beginning in 2003. Trekkies, or Trekkers, were the greatest motivation for the long-time survival of the series. The impact Star Trek has had from the 60s into modern culture is a phenomenon in itself. Although for a period Star Trek seemed to die down, it always made its way back into the limelight. A number of other shows and fans made Star Trek fit into each generation, be it within the Trekkie community or parodies and references in other television shows and movies. As a result of the success of this transmedia franchise came the development of merchandise and paraphernalia for the fans.
Prepared for whatever you have to offer?
Okay, here.
I should note, I'm having some digestive distress. So if I excuse myself abruptly, don't be alarmed. Oh, a napkin.
Turn it over.
To Sheldon, live long and prosper. Leonard Nimoy.
He came into the restaurant. Sorry, the napkin's dirty. He wiped his mouth with it.
I possess the DNA of Leonard Nimoy?
Yeah, I guess, but look, he signed it.
Do you realize what this means? All I need is a healthy ovum and I can grow my own Leonard Nimoy.
Today, Star Trek proved again to be a great success. The reboot series jumped off from the creative genius of J.J. Abrams. These two films alone have become a part of the great movie franchise and has awakened the old and new Trekkies to again take the voyage into unknown lands. Following both of these films came the development of the video game franchise. Today there are several fan-based pages which include Facebook, Twitter, Wikia, and more. While many label the fan base with the stigmas geeks or nerds, one could say otherwise as time has progressed with this great series. Perhaps it was the action and adventure that captured the attention of its audience for so long, or the technological influence for the innovations that we have today. Or maybe it was the morals of acceptance of different cultures over mere tolerance, and the idea of unifying different cultures. All in all, Trekkies have, in the words of Spock, lived long and prospered.
Fascinating. Fascinating. But it would be a fascinating project. Fascinating. 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 But quite impossible. Fascinating. Fascinating. Fascinating material.